So this is what my physique looked like 5 years ago. This is what it looks like more recently. And while I certainly haven't gotten to the highest level that I want to, as a skinnier guy, I've made a lot of mistakes and I've done a lot of things wrong. I've done some things right. And it was only roughly like the past year or so where I've made a lot more progress than I did before. And I want to share a lot of this advice because I know there's a lot of skinny guys out there who want to build more muscle, but they're just having a lot of struggles. And I want to help you out with this like specific advice. The first thing to understand is that you are different than the majority of other people. The majority of people who are looking for fitness advice, they're obese. And a lot of the fitness advice out there, they'll tell you the general advice, okay, work out, make sure that you're getting progressive overload and all that stuff. But what they underemphasize is the diet side of it. See, as a skinny guy, you can be working out. You can genuinely be pushing weights and making a lot of progress in that area. And can become toned. But to actually build muscle, to build that size, to get that type of physique that girls like actually like really want and like desire, even if that's like not your main goal. But for a lot of younger guys, it is like to get more attraction from women. Anyways, if you want to build like more thickness and like have a lot more muscle size, it's not just about working out and like doing these harder workouts. You need to be eating more. You need to be putting on more mass. And a lot of general advice isn't going to say, because again, a lot of people looking for fitness advice are obese and it's just not going to make sense for them. Yeah, eat more than you already are. Okay. That's just going to make their situation worse. But specifically for a skinny guy, this is what you need to do. And I promise you, this will make you so much more progress than pretty much anything else that you can do. Like assuming that you're already working out and like doing the basic fitness stuff already. Specifically what I have done, which has helped me tremendously, is I downloaded this free app called MyFitnessPal. It's such a game changer because dude, this app just makes everything so easy. Anyways, what you do is that you enter your information. You enter, okay, how much you weigh, how much you're trying to weigh, like, and how much you're trying to gain week by week. And what you do is every single meal that you have when you sit down, or first off, it's going to tell you like on a bulk, if you're trying to like gain weight and build muscle, it's going to tell you how many calories you actually need to be eating. And this is super important because again, as a skinnier guy, you just need to eat more. You need to put on like more size and just like eat more. It's going to give you the amount of calories that you need to hit. And every single day, what your goal is to hit this amount. So every single meal that you have, what you're going to do is you're just going to type in like whatever you see on the plate. Okay, this looks like a small breast of chicken. Okay, enter that in. This looks like about like a cup and a half of rice. Okay, enter that in. And this is just what you're going to do on a routine basis. It's really not that hard. You just have to enter, okay, what you're eating and track that over time. And what's that's going to do for you, it's going to tell you how many calories you've actually been eating. And for a lot of guys, they're, shocked because they'll try to eat a lot of food and, they won't even be close to their calorie goal. And this is what happens for a lot of guys. What you have to do and what you have to understand is it's not anything about your genetics. It's not like impossible for you to bulk or whatever. You just need to train the muscle of eating more food. As a skinnier guy, you're probably used to not eating that much food. I remember there was this time my friend invited me to eat over at his place and, his mom cooked food and whatever, gave it to us and whatnot. And, I ate the whole plate and, I was satisfied, whatever, but I saw his plate and, this was a much skinnier guy. He only ate about like half the food. He got the same portions as me. And it was like, yeah, no wonder this guy's skinny. Like I was just kind of thinking that in my head, like as a younger guy or as a skinnier guy, you need to eat more food. Like that's pretty much the simplest thing that you need to do that will make you a whole bunch of progress. And again, by tracking how many calories you're actually eating and seeing the difference and like how many calories you actually need to be eating to gain more muscle and like build size, you're just going to have to train yourself to eat more food. What will help you to do this like a lot quicker is one, if you can get liquid calories by making like a protein shake or just generally having like these liquid foods that have higher density of calories, that's going to help a lot. Also, just getting more familiar with the type of foods that people usually eat on a bulk, which will be like rice, beans, beef, chicken, all of these different foods, because different foods have different densities of calories. Like you can eat 1,000 salads and still not hit your calorie goals. But if you add things like, fats and butters or like some certain oils and, you just eat some different foods, it's going to have a higher calorie density, which you'll probably get familiar with as you go on. Anyways, every single day, you've got to be eating at a calorie surplus, eating slightly more than you're comfortable with. And, this is something that you're going to have to train your body to do. But over time, it's going to get way easier for you. Also, another thing that that can't be underestimated is that you need to be eating 1 gram of protein. Again, in MyFitnessPal, it does all these calculations for you. It'll like show you, okay, once you log what you've been eating over the day, it'll tell you how many grams of protein that you need to be eating. I found out that I wasn't eating nearly enough protein that I needed to actually like grow the muscle. I was doing a whole bunch of workouts, these really hard workouts, but the thing is, if you don't have protein and if you're not getting an adequate amount, you're just bottlenecking yourself. You're not able to push past a certain point because protein is literally the building block of your muscle. What is happening when you're doing these workouts and you're putting stress on your muscles, it's creating these micro tears like in your body, and your body needs that protein to be able to like fill it in and like actually repair that like muscle. If you're not giving it enough protein, it may be able to fill it in and like with the small amount of protein that you're giving it, but it's not going to be able to grow in massive size because you're just not giving it enough building blocks. Like if you're trying to build a building, but you don't actually have like the bricks and the concrete to actually make the building, how do you expect to build the building? Like you need the building blocks, if that makes sense. And a lot of skinnier guys, naturally, just because they're not eating that much, they're probably not getting enough protein either. So definitely by being on a bulk and eating more calories, it's probably going to be easier for you to get your, protein intake, but specifically just make sure that you're getting at least 1 gram of protein or more per pound of body weight that you are. This is going to really make things so much easier for you, I promise you. Next is you've got to build a gym or like a workout routine. What I recommend is you work 3 to 5 times, like work out 3 to 5 times every single week. You can do even more if you want, but this is just what I recommend. The thing for me is I was sticking to home workouts because I didn't want to go to a gym. You certainly can build a lot of muscle because like just by doing workouts at home, like your body doesn't care whether you're at a gym or you're doing workouts at home. I've just found it to be a lot easier to do specific workouts and hit the right type of muscles that I want if I have a gym membership. So whatever you're doing though, what you need to focus on is progressive overload. And this is where measurement comes into play. Just like with MyFitnessPal, you're tracking your calories and your protein intake. You need to be tracking your actual workouts because it's very easy for your brain to think, oh yeah, I've been pushing harder in the gym than I used to, and thinking that you're doing way better and whatnot. But the truth is, it's very easy for you to fake yourself out and to trick yourself essentially. What you need to do is track your workouts. What I do, it's not what you have to do, but it's what I do. I have a plan of, okay, these are the workouts that I'm going to do. Okay, this is what I'm going to do on Monday. It's my pool day. This is what I'm going to do on Tuesday. This is what I'm going to do on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc. And I'm going to do pretty much the same workouts every single day. And I track the amount of weight that I do. I track the amount of reps that I do. And I just go back into my notes. I have it on my phone, like in my notes app. I just track, okay, what I did for that day. Did I do a little bit more reps? Did I do a little bit more weight? And I actually track my progress so I can see whether I'm actually making progress, whether I'm at a standstill, whether I'm weaker, and I can adjust what I'm doing based off of that information, if that makes sense. Because again, a lot of guys will just do it very infrequently and they assume, because they have that pump and because they feel a little bit sore, oh yeah, I'm pushing myself. But again, it's very easy to trick yourself. So by having that measurement, it just makes everything more certain that you're actually making that progress that you want, because your muscle is not going to grow if it doesn't have a higher load, if it doesn't have a reason to actually grow. If you're pushing the same weights or even like lower weights than you were before, your body's just going to stagnate. It's just as simple as that. And you don't need to make like these huge giant leaps. You've just got to make sure that you're slowly or progressively getting stronger and stronger over time. There may be times where, for 2 or 3 weeks, you're kind of at the same like rate, like in terms of like the amount of weight that you're able to push. But then, on that 4th week, then you're able to do a little bit more. Sometimes it just becomes slower, like especially as you get more advanced, but just tracking it makes things a lot more easier. It allows you to be objective about whether you're actually making progress. Again, becoming objective and having these measures has been a super big game changer because I wasn't doing that. And for so many years, I just wasn't making progress just because I didn't know objectively what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. The next thing you've got to fix is your rest. Essentially what this is your body doesn't actually grow muscle when you're in the gym, when you're like breaking down those muscles. Like again, when you're lifting these weights or whatever, you're actually making these like micro tears in your muscles and you temporarily become weaker. That's when you feel sore and all that. It's when you sleep, when you have that rest, when you're actually able to recover, where your body actually like builds back that muscle and makes it even stronger. If you're not getting good sleep, you're just making this process way slower than it has to be. And by optimizing your sleep, you're able to get gains way faster than you otherwise would. So this means don't stop doing things that disrupt your sleep. Like if you're one of those people who likes to scroll on social media before going to bed and like stimulating your mind so much before bed, just cut that stuff out, try to be more disciplined in that stuff in that regard. Stop drinking so many liquids or an excessive amount of liquids before bed that makes you have to get up in the middle of the night and pee. Stop eating, food. This is one of the bigger things. I was eating too much food close to my bedtime, which made it harder to go to sleep. Just figuring out how to get more consistent sleep and improve the quality of it. Again, sleep, that's recovery. It just allows you to build that muscle way faster than you otherwise would, because you could really be pushing it in terms of your diet, eating a lot of calories and getting that amount of protein that you need, really pushing yourself in the gym, and it'll feel good, but you're not going to get stronger. You're not going to push past a certain level if you're not actually able to recover. Not perfect. I will have to admit and like raise my hand and admit that like there will be some times where I may, go hang out with friends and we're up like later than I'm used to or later than I'm supposed to be. There may be times when, I just do something kind of stupid, but generally you've just got to get the sleep. Generally, you've just got to make your sleep as consistent and as high quality as you possibly can. This may have been a lot of information, but the thing is, once you make a lot of this stuff a habit, it just becomes automatic and it's not something you have to really think about. I think one of the hardest stages is when you're in the beginning and you're trying to learn everything. Everything maybe seems so complicated. You have so many questions. But once you just build that routine, once you have a routine of, okay, this is what I'm going to eat. This is what time I'm going to eat. This is the type of foods that I'm going to eat. So I know on a consistent basis, I'm going to be, getting my calorie surplus and also getting the amount of protein that I need. Having a routine around what time you're going to the gym at the same time every single day, because that really does help to have that sense of routine. Even if you're like going to go to the gym with a friend, or just like having some routine set up so it becomes automatic you doing these things so you don't have to spend so much time thinking about it. I hope you got some value from this video. Making YouTube videos, a lot of the advice that I have to give, I try to make it as specific to skinny guys as possible, but there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of different variables that you need to take care of to make sure that you're making the most progress that you can. And I can't say everything on a single video because it just takes too much bandwidth and I'm not able to do it. Some of it may apply to some people. Some of it may not apply to some people. And while I'm trying to make the best videos I can, I think by having this coaching program, it will allow me to like see what you're doing on a personal level and to actually tailor my advice specifically to your situation. Because some of this information you may have known, some of the information you may have not known, but by me being able to see, okay, this is exactly what you're doing, I can give you more specific advice. Like, or maybe someone who has actually been tracking their calories, like in MyFitnessPal, they've been getting the adequate amount of protein and calories and whatnot, but they still don't seem to be gaining weight. I used to be in that situation and I can say, okay, this is specifically what you need to do. You need to, in the morning, as soon as you wake up, measure yourself after you use the restroom, whatever, and keep tracking that week by week. And if it's going up, okay, good. Maybe you're just delusional because, you're looking at the mirror and it's very hard to see and tell the difference in the mirror. Or maybe you just didn't give yourself enough time. But if you are actually at a standstill, okay, increase your calories because maybe you have a higher metabolism than MyFitnessPal, like the calculator, accounted for. Like, you see how specific that advice is. I can give that information and you can pretty much shortcut a lot of the advice that may be helpful, but may not be the main thing that you need to focus on. I really think that this will be useful, and yeah, I'm going to still try and make as many valuable videos as I can to help these skinny guys to build more muscle, build their dream physique that they're going after, because it really does make a difference, gives you a lot more confidence, makes the whole situation with girls a lot easier, or whoever you're attracted to, gets you a lot more respect from men. It really is worth it. And I wish I would have learned a lot of the things I teach earlier so I could have made progress way faster. But anyways, hope you got some value. Peace out.